Throughout all our lives, we are saddled with responsibility. As kids, we've got schoolwork and chores. As adults, we have, well, work, and chores, and relationships, and bills, and debt. But you know what? We just get used to it because responsibility is just a normal part of everyday life. But then there are times that responsibility becomes overwhelming. Maybe we fell behind on something, or something new popped up, or God, I'm really stressed out right now. Welcome back to Origin Story. I'm John Duffy, yada yada yada. And in this series, I go ahead and work really hard to overcome decades of bad lifestyle choices that are entirely my responsibility for making. And, trying to be better. But you know what? Trying to be better is great and all, but the stress of failure, the stress of responsibility, it just becomes a lot after a while. And sometimes it's because you fall behind, and other times it's because something new popped up that you weren't expecting, and sometimes it's both, and maybe even something else. So let's talk about what else The Legend of Zelda. In both Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity, we see the same incarnation of Princess Zelda being overwhelmed with responsibility. As a 7-year-old, she was saddled with the job of sealing away the Demon King, Calamity Ganon, because apparently he's a Looney Tunes Yosemite Sam reference now.
You better know who you're dealing with!
Only problem is that she has no idea how to unlock that power, and there's no one who can teach her how to. That said, you might not have the weight of an entire kingdom on your shoulders. That doesn't mean that your concerns and responsibilities aren't legitimate and stress-inducing. Maybe you've got family to take care of. Maybe you're living with the expectations of an overbearing family member. Maybe your boss has suddenly decided that you are responsible for more than your job description states. Or maybe it's something completely different. Whatever it is, it sucks being under all that. In my case, there's a number of factors weighing me down, from my health to bills to all sorts of different things. Now remember, in Princess Zelda's case, her father was a heavy contributor to her feeling overwhelmed. Of course, the knowledge that countless lives were depending on her was stressful enough, but her dad was not helping. The few times that we see this king interacting with his daughter, he comes across as harsh and uncaring. He would imply that Zelda just wasn't taking her responsibilities seriously enough.
However, as the princess, you currently have a crucial unfulfilled responsibility to your kingdom.
But Zelda was putting her all into it. She would stand in the waters of the sacred springs until her feet began to freeze. Zelda put her physical health and her emotional health in danger to fulfill her duty and save her people. But of course, Ganon returns. Before Zelda has awoken her power, and as a result, Ganon destroyed much of the countryside, killed many people, including her father, and even defeated Link. For the second canonical time in the franchise. Zelda's power only awoke after it was too late to stop the bloodshed, and I'll tell you what, everything that she and her father put her through was for nothing. All that suffering and guilt that she wallowed in was for nothing. The king's lectures and assumptions only led to make her feel more unloved and unworthy and guilty. That wasn't helping. And when somebody who was actually supportive of her actually came by to help, like Shifu Bosa, for example, well, she didn't know how to handle that. She didn't know how to accept help. As far as she was concerned, this was her responsibility, no one else's. The first thing I think is important to note here is that having a King Rome Bosphoramus Hyrule in your life is a bad idea. Listening to someone who berates you and assumes every moment you spend not working on your responsibility is you slacking off is very unhealthy.
Now you are here wasting your time. You need to be dedicating every moment you have to your training.
If you've been a model employee for years and then ask for a day off and your boss says no because he just wants you to keep working, That's not a compliment. That's, well, slavery. But it's also an issue of thinking that your personal life should never come before the job. That's not healthy. If a family member calls you selfish because you're skipping the family reunion this year because something else takes priority, don't let it get to you. Some people are just like that. We all need days to rest and recover, whether it's from the gym or from work, or heck, if you're an introvert like I am, you need time to recover from social interaction sometimes. But the king didn't see it that way. One of the few times we see the king and Zelda interact in these games is when she's taking a break. She had just gotten back from a very long training session, and it didn't result in anything. So she was taking a break. And he accused her of slacking off. Worst case scenario, you could be your own King Rome, and you're the one berating yourself.
Hey, you done with this crap yet? You got some actual work to do down here?
Yeah, sorry, I just got a few more minutes of this and I'll be ready to come down.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Just hurry, alright? Your wife is downstairs dealing with who knows what while you're up here just having fun doing nothing.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're your own King Rome, if you're the one berating yourself and tearing you down, you need to learn to not listen to yourself. Which I get is hard. It's not like you can drown out your own thoughts with music. It's honestly something that you'll probably deal with all the time. But there is one way to get around it, and there's one really good, I guess I could say, tool to have in your arsenal when it comes to defeating this kind of mindset, and that...
Hey, babe. You almost done?
Yeah, sorry, I know. I'll be done soon, I promise.
Oh, no. Don't apologize. I just wanted to know if you wanted some rice with dinner.
No, it is Monday. It's my turn to make dinner.
That's okay. You got your hands full with some important work. I got it.
Yeah, thank you. Sure, I'd love some rice, thanks.
Cool. See you in the field.
Bye. It's having somebody that supports you. A person that supports you and a person that encourages you to just shirk responsibility, well, they're not the same thing. A supportive person is going to help you figure out the best way to fulfill your responsibilities and your duties, and then will do whatever they can do to help you. And really, one thing you gotta do is think about the best pathway to fulfilling your duties, because guess what? You might be looking at just one pathway when there are a multitude of others. Zelda was single-minded in her focus on how to unlock her powers, because that's literally what her father told her to do.
You must be single-minded in unlocking the power that will seal Calamity Ganon away.
I'm the hootin'est, tootin'est, shootin'est, bobtail wildcat in the West.
And so she was convinced that praying at all these various shrines and springs were the only way to unlock her power. Meanwhile, she could have been just doing what she loved, studying the Guardians. She loved researching the ancient technology that had been excavated by their people. There's no telling what she could have accomplished if she spent more time overseeing the Guardians. Perhaps she would have been the one to realize that Ganon could hijack them, giving him an unbeatable edge. Perhaps being close to the ancient tech would have awoken something inside her, leading to the reveal of her powers. Who knows? But we do know that the king's insistence that she be single-minded in her training led her to waste her time doing something that didn't help.
No more excuses, Zelda.
When you have something that you must do, explore alternatives. If I told you to find a way to get from point A to point B on this map, and the distance between them was about 50 miles no matter what path you took, well, you could have a car. Just drive there on the highway. Or take a bus if one's available. But if you're like Zelda in this situation, you might be looking at this map and trying to figure out, how am I going to walk the entire distance? That's just time wasted. That's just effort wasted. Keep in mind that the possible solutions aren't going to be labeled in obvious ways. That's why it's important to experiment with different pathways to figure out the best thing to do. Had Ganon waited 2 more minutes, Zelda might have unlocked her power in time to save everybody. Because Mipha was about to give her the key.
Well, I'm not sure how to put this into words. I'm actually quite embarrassed to say it. It helps when I think about...
Link. It helps when she thinks about Link, the one that she loved. And As we can tell from various different clues around the games, Zelda had really come to admire and cherish Link's company. So much so that when Link was about to die, that's what woke her powers up. And look, Zelda was written to have a Deus Ex Machina moment just in the nick of time to save Link. You're not going to have that. Neither am I. That's why we need to be diligent in our responsibilities, taking breaks when we can afford them so that we can refresh our minds, come back to it when we're a little bit more clear-headed, but we need to be diligent. We need to find people that support us, and we need to cut out toxic people in our lives. Steven's talked about that already. This is not the kind of video that you come to feeling stressed and overwhelmed, and then leave thinking, oh yeah, everything makes sense now, and I no longer feel stressed and overwhelmed. Because I just finished recording this, and, well, I don't feel any better. Although, I suppose talking it out does help. I'm John Duffy, guys. Next week, I'm sure Origin Story will be a little bit more exciting. But we gotta talk about this stuff too, you know? Until next time, good luck. Train hard. Yeah.